conferencing services. Please enter your PIN number followed by the pound sign.
Able to transform this live meeting into full screen mode, and you'll be able to see everything at its maximum potential. That being said, if you are going to listen to this through a phone bridge or through the conference call, please turn down the speakers on your computer. And other than that, I'm going to turn the time over to Lori.
Thanks, Jason. We have a special treat for you tonight. We have Executive Director of Research and Development, Dr Cuomo, here for a special conference call. John holds a bachelor's degree in chemistry from the University of Vermont and a PhD in organic chemistry from Penn State. He also completed a postdoctoral fellowship in bioorganic chemistry at the University of Oregon. He brings over 25 years of expertise to his work at USANA and holds 2 patents for olivol, along with over 20 other U.S. and international patents. It is my pleasure to introduce Executive Director of Research and Development, Dr Cuomo.
Thank you, Lori. Happy to be here today on live meeting. This is something that I haven't done a whole lot of before, so I hope I can get through it without any technical glitches. And I'm very glad that so many of you are able to be part of this. What I'm going to try and do is talk by telling you a little bit more about the quality systems, the GMPs that we have in place at USANA to ensure that we are making the absolute best products anywhere in the world. So with that, let's go to the first slide. So what is this oxidative stress? Well, technically, it's an imbalance between pro-oxidants and antioxidants. So it can be caused either by too few antioxidants in your diet or by too many pro-oxidants. And these pro-oxidants are normally called free radicals, or ROS, reactive oxygen species. I'm sure all of you have heard of free radicals once or twice somewhere out there. So who is it that freed these radicals? Well, this is not really what free radicals are. Technically, again, free radicals are highly reactive molecules that are missing an electron, and they attack their neighbors to steal one. Free radicals also start a chain reaction. Now, they're like sparks from a hot furnace. They are very reactive. Anything they touch, they'll burn a hole in and they'll cause some damage. So where do they come from? Well, a lot of sources. Number one, they come from the sun. The UV radiation that is emanated from the sun and that heats the earth also generates free radicals. So when you're sitting out in sunlight getting a tan, you're also doing free radical damage to your skin. They also come from smoking, and free radicals are generated in smoke. They are also generated in pollutants and air pollution particulates that we breathe every day. And we also make them in our bodies. These are white blood cells, part of our immune system, that go out and attack xenobiotics in our body through an oxidative mechanism. And we also create free radicals in metabolism within the mitochondria, the cellular furnaces that we have to provide energy. Well, what keeps these free radicals going? What do they react with? They react with fats. They react with fats that are in our foods, and they react with the fats that we carry around in our bodies every day. Well, I think Lori told you earlier that I'm a chemist, so I apologize for this slide. I have to put up at least one slide with a couple of structures in it. These are some examples of free radicals that are in our bodies: superoxide, hydroxyl radicals, peroxyl. Don't worry about the structures. All you need to know is that these are oxygen in its most reactive form. And let's get back to the mitochondria, our cellular furnace. This is where we produce energy. We burn fuels every single day to produce energy so that we can stay alive, that we can keep moving, so that we can live and breathe. And we have some very efficient metabolism. As a matter of fact, we consume something like 3.5 kilograms of oxygen every single day. That's about 7.5 pounds. And we're almost 98%, just over 97% efficient in burning this, much more efficient than a car engine or any furnaces that we have. But that 2.8% that is not completely burned turns into free radicals. So we are producing tens of kilograms of peroxide radicals and peroxides in our bodies every single year from incomplete combustion. This cellular metabolism is kind of a baseline level of free radicals that we see every day. So the oxidative process, I'm not sure what happened to that slide, but what it's supposed to say is that we have a baseline level of antioxidants that are present in our bodies almost every day. Let me see if I can get that better. I don't think I can.
It's working on mine.
Apparently it's working on everybody else's. So there's always this low-level background of oxidation that naturally occurs in normal, healthy bodies because of our cellular metabolisms. And our bodies are designed to use cellular antioxidants to absorb these free radicals that are formed in metabolism and to absorb and repair them. However, when the levels rise, there are all kinds of deleterious things that may occur. Every single chronic degenerative disease that we know is associated with higher levels of oxidative stress. So there's also a theory of aging that is that the damage that's caused by these free radicals in our tissues, in our bodies every day, is the driving force in the aging process. And as we accumulate this damage over time, it's going to eventually lead to system failures and old age and finally death. So in this whole process of oxidative stress, free radicals, reactive oxygen species, are the sparks that start the fire. That is the fuel that it burns, and antioxidants are the extinguishers that put out the fire. It's that simple. And it's all about balance. We have to balance the pro-oxidants, the fats, the sunlight, smoking, pollutants, diseases, our immune system, our metabolism, with the antioxidants that are naturally present in our body, the enzymes, and the vitamins and minerals, the bioflavonoids and other phytochemicals that we have in our diet and in our supplements. If we're in balance, everything is fine. If we go out of balance, then we can see problems. So how do we measure this kind of activity? Well, this is another pretty technical slide. This is some of the methods that are well known: ORAC, TAC, TRAP, BRAP. They go on and on and on. There's hundreds of them. These are what are called in vitro assays. We can measure these in a test tube. Very easy to measure. But how do we measure oxidative stress? Well, that's a whole different problem. There is no direct measurement. We don't have any instrument that we can hold over your body and measure the amount of oxidative stress that you're under at any particular time. We can't measure free radicals in your body. What we can do is measure after-the-fact markers of damage. If there is oxidative damage to DNA or to protein or to lipids or fats, we can measure some compounds that are caused by that damage. One of the best ways is to measure a compound called 8-isoprostane. This is a marker of lipid peroxidation or fat oxidation. It can be measured in both your blood or in urine, and it was probably the most reliable marker of oxidative stress out there up till about a year ago. I'll tell you a little more about that in a few minutes. So one of the things we did was to see what happens when you take the essentials. And we did a study. We did a clinical study where we took some normal, healthy USANA volunteers. We took the essentials away from them for a period of time, and then we put them on the essentials for 12 weeks. After the 12 weeks, we took them away again, and we followed up 5 weeks later. And what we did was we measured the amount of these urinary isoprostanes, this measure of oxidative stress, during this period of time. And I'm going to show you a slide of the data of this group. And at baseline, after we washed people out, there was a certain percentage of those people that had high levels of oxidative stress. After 2 weeks, those people were dropping by about 15% in the levels of these isoprostanes. Between 4, 6, 8, and out to 12 weeks, it came down almost 30%. We took the essentials away, and 5 weeks later, the isoprostanes had returned to those high levels that we saw beforehand. So the bottom line here is that, number one, the USANA essentials significantly reduced oxidative stress. We got a 25 to 30% reduction in oxidative stress when people were taking the essentials, and the effect was detectable after only about 2 weeks. So the real bottom line here is that oxidative stress levels return to the original high levels when the subject stopped taking them. So in other words, you better take your essentials every single day if you want to keep oxidative stress low. Well, that's the end of this part of the talk, and I'd like to change gears a little bit and talk to you a little bit about quality. What I have up here is the first part of our corporate mission statement: to develop and provide the highest quality, science-based health products possible. This is my job. This is what I am charged to do every single day. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about how we do that. There is what we call a quality formula, a quality equation. We need to have quality formulas, quality manufacturing, and continuous quality improvement in USANA. Now let's talk a little about quality formulas. What are these? They are scientifically based. We read the published literature in journals like The Lancet, like the New England Journal of Medicine, Clinical Research, the Journal of Free Radical Biology and Medicine, and we take those papers and read them and understand them. We also do in-house research to verify what's already in the literature. And then we go another step further, and we sponsor a lot of research through third-party outside labs, like the Linus Pauling Institute at Oregon State University. We've also done a number of clinical trials at other universities, like the University of Utah. We currently have 2 more studies going on right now, one at Boston University and one at the University of Colorado Health Sciences Center in Denver. So we sponsor a lot of these outside research projects as well. And a quality formula has to be complete, balanced, has bioavailable ingredients at advanced dosage levels, but it also must be safe. You can't have too much of any ingredient and get them to unsafe levels. They also must be convenient and efficacious. And then the final part of that equation is our continuous improvement. We continually reformulate our products, even our core products like the Essentials and the Health Pack. Over the past 11 years that I've been working here, I've worked on 4 different reformulations of the Essentials. So when we see new evidence in the literature for different levels of antioxidants, minerals, and vitamins that should be in our product or new ingredients, we take those research papers and we turn it into a new formula of the Essentials with that latest and best science involved. We also have manufacturing quality control protocols that we are continuously improving so that our leadership in quality is an ongoing process. We're always going to stay a step ahead of our competition. And here's a picture of some of the people. Unfortunately, I couldn't get everybody into one slide that are responsible for making sure that we follow quality GMPs, or good manufacturing practices, and make the best products in the world. Currently, we have somewhere over 40 people in research and development, in quality assurance and quality control that are charged with one job, and that job is to make sure that this seal that is on every single product that we sell actually has some real meaning. So like I like to say, Dr. Wentz puts his signature on every bottle saying that the potency is guaranteed. We put our butts on the line every time we make a product to make sure that those products have something in them that is real and that we have followed the right types of GMPs, pharmaceutical GMPs. So I think the best way to explain this is actually to give you a tour of the entire manufacturing process from start to finish and show you what it looks like to a chemist. Well, let's get started. I think many of you that have been out to Salt Lake City have seen this view. This is what many people actually mistake for the front door to USANA. This is not really the front door. That's just where people come in. This is the real front door. This is where it all starts. That's our loading dock. Those garage doors will open up, and it usually doesn't look quite this empty. Usually looks something like this. A truck will back in to the loading dock and unload a pallet of raw materials that we use in our products. This is where the GMPs start. As soon as that truck is unloaded, it's met by a quality control, a quality assurance inspector who takes the entire lot into a secured room. This room is controlled for environmental contamination. It has HEPA-filtered air coming in, which means that there are no particulates in that air. Once he gets inside, he starts the quality assurance process. What he's doing right here is taking an infrared picture of the ingredients in the barrel. This is an infrared wand. We get an electronic picture of what's in the product, and we match that to a library standard to make sure that it matches. If it says B12 on the label, does it have an electronic signature that looks like B12? He also will take samples from every lot of raw material that comes in. We'll put those samples in a sample cup and send that off to the laboratory for further testing. The bulk material goes here. This is the lockup. We do not use any product until it has been fully tested. We don't trust anybody until it's been to the lab and we've seen for ourselves that it matches with what it's supposed to be. So this is where we lock up that product until it's been tested. And we go into the lab and we do a number of things. We continue product identification to make sure it's the right product. We also do tests to make sure that it is at the right percentage. If it says 98% on the label, it better be 98% and not some other percentage. We also check to make sure that things that shouldn't be in that product are not there. And we do full microbial testing on every single raw material. So we look for bacteria, yeast, and mold that could be in the product. They can't be there, so we do a full testing. It takes us something between 10 and 14 days to do full testing on each raw material before we release it. Once it's released, we can finally take it out to production, and this is the first stop in production where we blend all the ingredients together. This is a 1-ton V-cone blender where we make things like the essentials, the Mega AO, and the chelated mineral. We also have a larger double-cone blender which holds 2 tons of material. And then it goes to a tablet press. Now we have a question along the way. How do we know when we're blending 20 or 30 different ingredients that we have a uniform blend? Well, the only way to do that is to do what's called a process validation. To do a process validation, we are looking for uniformity tablet to tablet in each of our products, and we validate that each product does have uniformity. So that means when we say on the label of a Mega AO that it has 100 IUs of vitamin E in a tablet, that means that each and every tablet has 100 IUs. It's not some average number. It's not one tablet has 50 and one has 150 and it averages out to 100. Each tablet has to have that 100 IUs. And this is a written protocol that we use to validate that we have uniformity in all those ingredients, and we do that for every single product that we've made. So not only do we validate the process works and that this tablet press is spitting out 100,000 or close to 1 million tablets per run that are all uniform, but once we're done with that run, we have the operator tear the entire machine apart and clean it out. And again, we have validated cleaning protocols to ensure that we know how to clean the machine out. We do a wipe test to make sure that there's no residues left behind so that this same tablet press could be used for a different product without any cross-contamination of ingredients. We do that same validation on every piece of equipment in the line. This is a tablet coater where we put a thin film coating on the outside of the tablet to make them slide down a little bit easier. And again, when we're done with a run, we open it up, we clean it out, and we validate that it has been cleaned. Finally, we take those tablets and we go into our packaging area and put our products together. This is a picture of our pillow packing machine where we make our health packs. And there are a number of quality control steps at each portion of this packaging to make sure that we've got the right tablets in the right amount in each package with weight checkers, and it's fully validated again so that all of the operators know how to make those packages and put out a good product. And whether it's going in the pillow packing machine where it goes on our normal bottling line, where we again have a number of quality control steps to make sure that the product is made right, it's sealed, it has its outer wrapper sealed, it's got the right tablet count inside, and finally goes into a finished package form. And you would think at this point that the product is ready to go out for sale, but not quite, because we do one more thing. We take that finished product and we bring it back to the lab and we test it one more time. Every single lot of every product goes through full testing again. Number one, we test microbially again to make sure that there was no contamination in anywhere that was introduced during the tableting process. And then we do the real fun work. We bring it into the lab where we pay some chemists to do full product testing on each ingredient that's written on that label. This is one of my favorite machines. This is one of the reasons I became a chemist, because you get all kinds of fancy and expensive toys to play with every day. This is an HPLC, or a high-pressure liquid chromatograph, and this is a special one because this one has a coulometric array detector on it. That's one of my favorites. This cost us about $80,000. We currently are running a number of other HPLCs. I think these are 3 more that's in our R&D lab. I think total now we have about 10 HPLCs in our corporate offices that we use for this product testing, including a new one that has a mass spectral detector that Dave was very kind enough to let us buy last year for about $200,000. This is another one of the nice machines we have. This is called an ICP, or an inductively coupled plasma spectrophotometer. I could hardly get that one out. I'm hoping none of you have to remember this for the test that we're going to give later. This is a machine that we use to measure all of the minerals in our chelated mineral and our active calcium product. So it's only after that full product testing on every single lot of product that we make that the material is finally released into the warehouse for sale. Now, you'd think this was enough. We've done full testing on our raw materials as they come in. We validate our processes. We do full product testing on every lot of material that we make. But we have another step in our quality control process that we think is very important, and that is stability. So we take every product that we make and we put it in a room like this. This is a stability chamber that is maintained at 25 degrees centigrade and 65% humidity. Each of our products spends 2 years in a room like this. We periodically take those products out, retest them to make sure that what was in there at manufacturing is still there up to 2 years later. And that is how we can put a 2-year expiration date on each product label. We also have some accelerated chambers. This one is 40 degrees centigrade, which is somewhere around 109 degrees Fahrenheit, and 75% humidity, so that we can get much more rapid stability information on every product. So, full testing of raw materials, validated methods for making each product, full testing of all ingredients in every batch of every product we make, and 2 years of real-time stability testing on every product. And you'd think that was enough, but we go one step beyond that as well. And we wonder what happens when you give these products to people. Do any of those great ingredients get into their system? Well, there's only one good way of doing that. We get USANA volunteers, we feed them products, they donate us a little bit of blood in this room, and we take that blood out to those expensive machines, the HPLCs and the ICPs, and we retest to see if any of those ingredients were actually bioavailable and got into anybody's system. So we have that extra step, and we also do clinical studies to further identify efficacy of these products. And we go one step beyond that. As Lori mentioned a while ago, I was lucky enough to obtain 2 new U.S. patents on our process for making olive oil, our olive fruit extract that we now put in the essentials and in the health pack. And I think I also mentioned something about 8-isoprostanes, which used to be the best way to measure oxidative stress. Very recently, actually just last year, we published a new paper on the measurement of plasma antioxidant reserve, or PAR assay. And this, we believe, is now the best way to measure oxidative stress in humans. And we are using this method in our clinical protocols to further identify benefits of the essentials. Now, all of this is not only something that you can take on my word, but we've gone out and we've gotten some third-party verification that we really do all this that I've just told you about. As a matter of fact, one of the things we've done and have been doing for a number of years, ever since we started selling products in Australia, is to work with the TGA. The TGA is the Therapeutic Goods Administration in Australia, very similar to the FDA in the U.S. This is the body that regulates nutritional supplements in Australia. They regularly come to our building, spend a good week going through all of our plant, all of our records to make sure that we follow good manufacturing practices in our manufacturing. And they've issued us, this is the current GMP certificate from the TGA. Well, that wasn't enough for us, so we went out to another third party called NSF and also invited them to come into our building and inspect our GMPs to make sure that we are following these good pharmaceutical-style GMPs. And just at the beginning of this year, back in January, NSF International issued an official registration of GMP for our manufacturing facility here in Salt Lake City. And they've given us a very nice GMP registered certificate that we now use on our website. And we went one step further with NSF. We also took our core products, the essentials and the health pack, and had NSF verify our product claims. So they tested our products and they verified that everything that's on the label has indeed can be verified by their independent analytical laboratory. And as a matter of fact, you can go to their website, www.nsf.org. You can type in USANA, and you can see which products were tested and that we did pass their certification. Well, we went a step even beyond this. You know, we have a number of people that are using our products. As a matter of fact, we still are official sponsors of the U.S. and Canadian speed skating teams who take our products. And just last year, we also had the Sonny Erickson WTA Tour announced that they've entered into an agreement with USANA to be their official health supplement. Now, they came to us because of our GMPs, because we manufacture very good products. And I think at last count, 5 of the top 10 women tennis players in the world were taking USANA products, and something like 70 of the top 100 are taking USANA products. We went a step further for the WTA. We actually went out and tested our products to ensure that there are no WADA or World Anti-Doping Agency banned substances in those products. And we sent those products out to 2 different laboratories. We sent them to a laboratory called the Banned Substance Control Group at UCLA and to HFL in the UK. These are both WADA accredited laboratories who tested our products that we use for the WTA to ensure that these do not have any banned substances that would disqualify an Olympic athlete or a WTA athlete. So I think that not only have we done this scientifically, but a number of other people have been picking up on the quality at USANA. You know that the USANA Essentials were rated the #1 nutritional supplement in North America in Lyle McWilliams' Comparative Guide to Nutritional Supplements in the 1st through 3rd editions, and we're one of only 4 products to be given a 5-star gold medal in his new 4th edition. USANA has also been voted the People's Choice for 9 years running by Network Marketing Today and the MLM Insider magazine. USANA was rated #3 on Business Week's Hot Growth Companies list in 2005. And USANA was ranked 12th this last year on Forbes' 200 Best Small Companies list, and the only direct sales company to make the top 20 in Forbes for the last 3 years in a row. And just recently, USANA was also awarded Utah's Best of State in 2006 medal for dietary supplements for a 3rd year in a row. So you can see that not only do we say that USANA has quality products, but a number of other people have recognized the quality that we put into our products. And so I want to come to one final slide. I think I showed you this one earlier on in the talk, in the introduction. This was a picture actually that my wife took up in Canada, in the Canadian Rockies. And I use this picture as a metaphor for not only USANA, but for myself. You know, any of you that have been to Salt Lake City know that we have some pretty nice mountains outside of town that go up to about 11,000 feet or so. So I didn't really have to go 1,500 miles all the way up to Canada to see some mountains, but I did go that extra step. And when you get up into the Canadian Rockies, you know these are beautiful mountains. They are just incredible, and you can see them from your car. You don't actually even have to stop your car to see the mountains. But some people like to do that. And as a matter of fact, some people not only like to see them from their car, but they like to get out and climb a couple thousand feet up into the mountains and take those few extra steps to get up to the top. And actually, this picture was taken on the Iceline Trail up in Yoho National Park. And well, actually, it's not even on the Yoho Trail. This was a little side route that was a little bit higher up. But I wanted to get up to the highest point in those mountains so that I could stand up there at the top and look down in the valley and see all the lazy people in the cars down below who didn't walk all the way up to the top. This is exactly the same way that we work at USANA. We are the people that are standing at the top of the mountain, looking down at everybody else that hasn't gone that extra step to put all the quality control in place to do what we do to ensure that we have the best products made anywhere in the world. And that's why when we put this potency guarantee on our products, it really means something. And that's why USANA products really are nutritionals that you can trust. And I want to thank everybody that's been listening to me drone on here for all this time. That comes to the end of my presentation. In the few minutes that we have left, I'm going to try and answer a few questions that we've gotten during the presentation. If we can't get to your question today, we'll try and put some answers out on the internet tomorrow. But let me see what some of these questions are and see if I can answer one of these. Let's see. one of the questions we have are any of these products certified halal? Actually, we have just entered our 14th market. That market is Malaysia, and all of the products that we're selling in Malaysia are certified halal. Now, we did not get halal certification on all of the products that we sell throughout the rest of the world. We use many of the same ingredients, so most of the products would probably be considered halal, but we do not have certifications for those. I think only the Malaysia and the Singapore products do have that certification. I have a couple of a question here on clinical studies. I think I talked to you about some outside research that we are currently doing at various institutions, third-party institutions that are working with USANA. The question is, what are the programs that are at those institutes? We do a couple of different types of things. Number one, we are working with the Linus Pauling Institute at Oregon State University. We have a very interesting arrangement with Linus Pauling in that we do not have contracted research with them. Usually when you spend money to do research, you give people a very specific project, telling them what to look at and what to do, and they are supposed to fulfill that to get the money that you promised them. With Linus Pauling, we do something quite different. We think that the research that's going on there is so cutting edge, so important, and needs funding so badly that we have given them some unrestricted grants to do whatever research they want to do. Now, they, in turn, do share that information with us so that we get to see some of that early on in the research project. But as you know, Linus Pauling Institute is very interested in antioxidants. So much of the work that they're doing now are looking at things like vitamin C, alpha-lipoic acid, grapeseed extract, and other bioflavonoids to understand the efficacy of those products. And we'll be sharing some of that information with you over the next few years. We hope that this agreement with Linus Pauling Institute will go on for a number of years. This is not something that we're going to do short term. Now, many of the other projects that we have done have been very short-term projects, things that last a year, maybe 18 months to go to completion. And many of those are contracted third-party clinical studies. So, for example, a number of years ago, we did a research project at the University of Utah in which we did a double-blind, placebo-controlled study on our active calcium chewable formula, the Body Rocks active calcium chewable formula. So what we did in that study was we had a group of 106 pre-teenage girls. I believe they were 11 years old at the start of the study. We broke them into two groups. One group got the active calcium chewable, one group got a placebo, and they continued taking those products for an entire year. And in that study, the researcher that we worked with was measuring bone mineral density. And at the end of the year, we were able to show that there was a very significant difference. As a matter of fact, the girls that were taking the active calcium product had about a 6% increase in bone mineral density over the girls in the placebo group. Very important study because it's absolutely essential that you put bone mineral density on while you're young. I've seen some data that would say a 5% increase in bone mineral density while you're a teenager may turn into about a 40% lower risk of developing osteoporosis later in life. Some of the other studies that are going on now, we're looking at one of our premier products, proflavanol, in a study that's going on up at Boston University. Hopefully that has just gotten off the ground, and we believe that it'll be another year or so before we complete that study, and we'll be able to tell you about that research. We're also confirming data that we originally obtained from a study that Ray Strand did with the Reset program at the University of Colorado Health Sciences Center in Denver. And there's a number of other studies that are in the early planning stage right now, and we'll be able to talk a little more about those after those studies are published. Let me pick out another question here. Whole food based?
Whole food based.
Yeah. I have a question here that says, are the essentials whole food based? And the answer to that is no. They are not whole food products. We have a philosophy that what we put in our essentials, the vitamins, the minerals, and the other antioxidants, are chosen for purity and potency. We have guaranteed amounts of each of those ingredients in those tablets. A whole food product is something that takes powders from fruits and vegetables and other materials and dries those things down. You cannot guarantee the amount of any particular nutrient, and as a matter of fact, they vary all over the place from lot to lot. So we have chosen not to go with whole food products. Next question. How does Optomega differ from Biomega? Great question. They both contain omega-3 fatty acids, very important nutrients. However, Optomega is a vegetarian product. It is actually a certified organic product as well, completely vegetarian. It contains an essential fatty acid called linolenic acid. It's a short-chain omega-3 fatty acid, also known as LA or ALA. It's different from Biomega because Biomega is omega-3 fatty acids that are derived from fish oil, and it's a fish oil product. So it's, number one, it is not a vegetarian product, and number two, it contains longer-chain omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA. Now, the material that is in Optomega, the alpha-linolenic acid, actually gets converted in your body to EPA and DHA. However, it's a fairly inefficient process. Something under 10% of the total fatty acid, omega-3 fatty acid that you get in Optomega, gets converted to EPA and DHA. That's why when you take Optomega, you have to take about 10 times as much, somewhere near 10 grams per day, to get the same amount that you would get in 2 tablets of Biomega. So Biomega contains the end products from that biosynthesis. So one's vegetarian, one is fish-derived. Let's go on to another question. And this says, how do we control quality of gel caps and Optomega? Now, these are things that you've noticed that in that discussion I showed you earlier, that we manufacture virtually every tablet that USANA sells in our facility here in Salt Lake City. We don't, however, manufacture every single product. And two of the things that we don't make are, we don't have an oilseed pressing facility to make Optomega, and we don't encapsulate oils in the gel caps here at USANA. We have to do that with third parties. In order to make sure that the quality is controlled in those facilities where we make them, we actually send our quality control manager, Glenn Putnam, out to the facilities where we make those products. He goes through a full audit to make sure that they follow GMPs that are adequate for USANA. Most of the facilities that we use to make products are also TGA-approved third-party labs. And then we go a step further. Even though we make these in facilities that we think are following very good GMPs, we again do full testing in our own laboratories here in Salt Lake City when those products come into our building. So we control the quality by doing full testing in our own lab to make sure that they meet the same purity and potency standards that we set for all our other products.
And it looks like we have time maybe for one last question, and we're going to have to call it quits at this point.
All right.
Do you have one more in you, John?
Let's see. You got a good one out there?
No.
Let's see if we've got one more. This is going to be the last one.
Okay, this is one friend of yours.
Roy had a question.
He wants to know where your Redskins baseball cap is.
Where's my Redskins baseball cap? As a matter of fact, Roy, that cap was so important that I have it in my office, sitting right over my desk, so I don't ever get it dirty. But if you don't mind me getting it dirty, I'll take it out with me on my next excursion into the mountains. Thanks for that question. I needed a few softballs here. So anyway, I'd like to thank everybody that's paid attention through this entire talk. It's been wonderful to have the opportunity to tell you a little bit about our products, and hope we can all get together again and do another meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We have a few more questions in the queue that we're going to try and get to privately, so if you want to stay on if you still have a question. And other than that, have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.